Hi there, welcome to this video all about installing Droplet software to an Apple Mac. In this particular example, I'm going to be running a very modern container to run a modern Windows application. We could run one of our compatibility containers to run legacy software on the Apple Mac. Remember, this is all running offline using the hardware resources of the physical machine, so no need for any complicated back-end infrastructure such as load balancers and brokers and security gateways and things like that. So the first step is for me to go to my downloads folder and install the software. So just like any Apple Mac software, it mounts a DMG file where I just drag and drop the application icon into my applications environment. That's done. And I can eject that DMG file because I no longer need it. There we go. And then if I go to the applications folder, I can run the application for the first time. Once I select that icon, it'll ask me to provide my license file, which I have in my downloads area. Accept the license agreement, and now the software is installed. The next thing I need to do is allocate resources to the container. Now this Apple Mac Pro, an Intel version, has 16 gigs of RAM. So if I wanted to, with this particular container type, I could give it 8 gigs of memory. And also the Apple Mac has 8 cores altogether. So I could easily align 4 cores. I'm using our 64-bit container here, which can go as high as 4 cores and 192 gigabytes of memory. In reality, how much memory you assign to the container is a function of how resource intensive your applications are, and I would urge you against about over allocating resources to the container and starving the physical system of resources. I can enable hardware acceleration. We use a built-in hardware accelerator into the Apple macOS, which has been around for a number of years, so no need to install any secondary software to get the hardware acceleration working. Next thing I need to do is point it to an image file. I've put that in my documents folder here, and then I can start the container for the first time. That's going to take a little while, so I'll resume the video once this has finished. So the software has loaded, and we have our default application Notepad, which is already published on the application tile interface. So I can actually launch my first application straight away to just test that everything is working okay. So let's do that. So that's Notepad loaded. Other text editors are available, and I can just sort of reorganize these windows a little bit around on my screen so you can see things a little bit better than if they were all kind of overlaid. Yep, so there's Notepad. Admittedly, not a powerful use case for running Droplet software. What will be more interesting is actually installing a piece of software inside the container, and that's very easy to do. All I need to do is unlock the container, provide my Droplet password, and that will allow me to run Explorer inside the container. There it is. And from here I can browse my network for my file server. So on my network I have a NAS box which acts as my repository for all my software. And I have a copy of Microsoft Office 365 in my repository, which I generally use as an example of running a modern application. Perhaps a better example is something that you can't even get on an Apple Mac, like Visio, for example. So, although there are sometimes versions of Windows apps on the Apple Mac, they're sometimes a bit less functional. They're often very different in look and feel. That can make supporting Apple Mac users a little bit tricky because you have to sort of remember the differences between you know, the various flavors of an application. And then sometimes a vendor just offers a web-based version of a piece of software to the Apple Mac, which is nothing like or not as functional as a locally installed app. So I'm going to start off the install here, running it across my network. Obviously that's going to take a little bit of time to complete, so I don't really want to bore you as you watch an Office install take place. You know, sort of, once you've seen it once, you've seen it 1,000 times. So I'll resume this video once the installation has finished. Okay, well that install has completed. The next task is for me to create an application tile for the various applications inside the container I want to make available to the end user. This is a relatively simple process of specifying a friendly name and a path to the executable. For a well-behaved installer like Microsoft Office, all you need to do is type in the name of the exe. You don't need to type in the full path. And I'm going to provide a friendly icon for that system as well. I have my icons on my network, which I can easily point to. So it's a modern application. I have a modern Word icon. There we are. And I can repeat that process for any number of applications. This is specific to the end user, so Harry could have 3 applications, Sally could just have 2. So the publishing arm of the software is separate from the executables, if you like, inside the container. I don't really need that notepad icon anymore, and I can lock the container now. So from the end user's perspective, they can't really do anything within the container except launch and run applications. So let's see what that looks like. I'm going to launch Microsoft Word, the full Windows version of Microsoft Word Office 365 running on the Apple Mac. So there's Word running, and I can also run Excel. There's Excel, and I can also launch PowerPoint. There's PowerPoint. So for the most part, this particular application, once it's loaded and the application is running, end users don't really interact with. They'll just minimize it to the system tray, and what they'll interact with is instead these Droplet seamless apps, as we call them, where the application is running natively on the Apple Mac but using the full Windows version. Thank you for watching the video. Bye.